Have you ever walked through your own home, past that hallway shelf, the drawer that never closes right, or the cabinet you haven't opened in years, and felt something you couldn't quite name? It's not quite sadness, not quite heaviness, but something lingering in the air, a quiet tug, a whisper from the past, or maybe a memory packed away so long, you've forgotten the weight it carries. You might stop and wonder, why do I feel this way in my own space? This is my home, my sanctuary. But why doesn't it always feel peaceful anymore? If you're over 60, and especially if you've lived in your home for decades, chances are you've gathered more than just belongings. You've collected moments, photographs, receipts, notes, furniture that's been with you longer than some friends. And there's beauty in that. But also, sometimes, sorrow hidden between the cracks. No one ever warned us that the clutter we don't notice could quietly steal our joy. Not in a dramatic way. It doesn't slam doors or shout at us. But it seeps into our days, into our energy, our patience, even our sleep. That's why today's video matters. Not because we'll tell you how to declutter like a minimalist, or urge you to throw away everything in a weekend. No, that's not our way. This is not a race. This is a soft conversation between you and me, between us and the thousands of beautiful souls over 60 who still believe that life has chapters left to write, because it does. And you deserve to write them with clarity, with comfort and with space to breathe. Let's be honest. Decluttering isn't about making your house look like a magazine. It's about making it feel like your favorite memory, the kind that warms your chest instead of tightening it. So before we begin, I want to ask you something gently, not to judge, but to invite reflection. When was the last time you opened that one closet you've been avoiding? Or touched the box in the attic with someone's handwriting you haven't read in years? How do you feel, truly feel, when you walk into the room where the light never reaches? We're not here to push you. We're here to walk with you. One small step at a time, because we've spoken to many seniors, people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, who've quietly admitted that their clutter didn't just take up space on the floor. It took up space in their hearts. It stole away moments of peace, made mornings harder, and turned simple decisions like finding a pair of socks into battles that drained energy. And here's the quiet truth nobody really talks about. Sometimes, we don't even realize the emotional weight of what we're holding on to until we let it go. Maybe that stack of old magazines you swore you'd read one day. Maybe the second set of china no one ever uses. Maybe the clothes you once wore in another life, waiting for an occasion that never quite comes. It doesn't mean you're messy. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means you're human. You've lived, you've loved, and you've kept things that meant something once. Maybe they still do. But when these things begin to rob your present of lightness, when they make your home feel heavy instead of healing, that's when it's time to pause. To ask, what still serves me? What still reflects the life I want now? So today, let's walk together through something quiet, something powerful. We're going to explore 10 subtle decluttering mistakes that slowly steal away joy, often without us even noticing. Not because we're careless, but because we care so deeply about memories, about family, about the people we've been, and the stories we carry. Each of these mistakes isn't about fault. They're simply patterns that tend to form when we age and life gets faster while we slow down. This isn't a checklist. It's a mirror, and like any gentle mirror, it doesn't judge. It just reflects, so we can decide if we want to shift what we see. We'll talk about emotional attachment, about the guilt of letting go, about the quiet fear of forgetting someone if their belongings disappear. We'll look at the myth that decluttering means erasing history, and why that's not only untrue, but deeply unfair to the soul inside you that's ready for peace. And we'll talk about what it means to make space, not just in the hallway or the kitchen drawers, but in your spirit. in your daily rhythm, in your breathing. Because the truth is, every item we own either gives us energy or quietly takes it. And at this age, energy is precious. Every ounce counts. Every morning matters. Every soft chair, every deep sleep, every easy breath in your favorite room, it all adds up to joy. The kind of joy that doesn't need noise or fanfare. The kind of joy that feels like a warm cup of tea on a quiet morning with the window cracked, open just enough to feel the breeze dot. So if you've been feeling like something in your home is pulling you backward, like the past has grown too loud, or like peace is a little harder to find lately, this video is for you. Not to fix everything overnight, but to offer gentle wisdom. The kind that grows from living, not reading. The kind that honors the life you've built while helping you make room for the ones still unfolding. Are you ready? Let's begin the journey. Slowly, tenderly, together. Let's start this journey with a quiet truth. Decluttering is not just about tidying up. At our age, it becomes something much deeper. It's about untangling ourselves from the things that no longer serve our spirit. And the first mistake many of us make, often without realizing, is this: holding on to things because we're afraid of forgetting. You see, memory and belonging are tightly woven together. That old scarf in the drawer? It might remind you of a trip you once took. The chipped coffee mug in the back of the cabinet? Maybe your late husband used it every morning. A birthday card from your granddaughter when she was still little. Now, grown and busy with her own life, we tell ourselves, if I let this go, will I forget? It feels as if throwing out the item might mean throwing out the person, the memory, the moment. So we keep it. But here's something gentle to consider. Memory does not live in things. It lives in you. Letting go of a sweater does not erase the warmth of the arms that once wrapped around you. Giving away a box of old toys doesn't mean the joy of your children's laughter disappears. These memories are etched in your soul, not stored in the attic. What truly honors those moments isn't the clutter. It's your ability to carry the love forward without letting the past keep you from living in the present. If you're afraid of forgetting, maybe it's time to write instead of store. A journal entry about your favorite memory with that person, or even recording your stories aloud. Give the memory a voice, not just a shelf. It will stay with you longer that way. Now, let's move to the second quiet mistake: keeping just in case items that never actually serve a future need. We've all said it. I might need this someday. It's an innocent phrase. Sensible, even. But after a few decades, that someday turns into years, then decades. And those items pile up. The spare blender in the garage. The stack of extra blankets. The dress you haven't worn since the 80s, but you might. Maybe if that party ever happens again. The truth is, just in case often becomes never used. And while it may seem harmless, what we don't often see is what it costs. Because every unused item takes up more than just space. It also takes up energy. It adds visual noise. It makes it harder to find what you do use. It can even bring guilt. Why haven't I used this yet? I should do something with it. You deserve ease, not guilt. And at this chapter in life, the best question is not, will I need this someday? But does this make my life easier, lighter, and more joyful today? If it doesn't, you can let it go with love. You are not wasteful. You are making room for peace. There's freedom in choosing usefulness over imagined futures. There's calm in simplifying. And now, let's touch the third mistake, perhaps one of the most tender of all. Confusing guilt with love when it comes to gifts and inherited belongings. It's so hard, isn't it? That painting your aunt gave you, even if it doesn't match your home. The collection of china from your mother-in-law that sits untouched. The ceramic elephant from a friend who's no longer with us. You look at it and think, they gave this to me. I should keep it. If I don't, am I being ungrateful? But let's take a deeper breath here. Love doesn't live in the object. It lives in the giving, in the smile they had when they handed it to you, in the warmth you felt receiving it. Keeping something out of guilt doesn't honor their love. It burdens yours. Imagine if your own child or friend felt obligated to keep everything you ever gave them, even if it no longer fit their lives. You'd tell them, sweetheart, keep the memory, not the object. Let it go if it's too much. So, why wouldn't that same kindness apply to you? You can honor someone's memory without holding on to every item. In fact, choosing just one or two things that genuinely bring you joy and releasing the rest makes the love feel lighter, more cherished, more intentional. Letting go doesn't mean letting down. It means lifting up your own well-being. We've met so many beautiful souls who felt buried under the weight of things that weren't even their own. A barrage full of boxes from relatives passed on. An attic stuffed with someone else's history. There's no shame in that. But there's also no need to keep carrying it all. You have a right to create a space that breathes, that welcomes you, that feels like your home, not a museum for others' memories. You're not erasing love. You're choosing peace. Let's pause here together and breathe that in, because we are just beginning this journey. And already, you may be feeling something stir inside. A gentle pull toward freedom. A curiosity about what it might feel like to walk into a room and feel light, not obligation. There is no rush. No pressure. Only one small truth. Your joy matters. Your space matters. And the two are more connected than we ever imagined. Let's gently continue. We've talked about fear of forgetting, the weight of just in case, and the quiet guilt tied to sentimental gifts. But sometimes, the things we hold on to aren't emotional at all. They're practical. Or, at least they used to be. That leads us to the fourth decluttering mistake. Keeping broken or worn-out items because we might fix them one day. It sounds like a responsible thought, noble, even. I'll fix that lamp next weekend. Those shoes just need new soles. That chair only wobbles a little, it still works. But here's what happens over time. Those intentions stack up. The broken lamp sits in the corner for 5 years. The shoes get buried behind 3 new pairs. The chair becomes more of a hazard than a help. And instead of becoming useful again, these items slowly become reminders of what we meant to do. Little whispers of, you should have done this by now. And that creates stress we don't need. If it's been broken for a year, maybe it's not part of your present life anymore. Maybe it's time to stop waiting for the right day, and instead choose today as the day to reclaim your space. Because here's the truth we often forget. Things that no longer function do not deserve space in your home if they make you feel frustrated, burdened, or behind. Imagine how different your room might feel without the broken clock on the shelf. Or without the tangle of cords in the drawer you haven't touched since 2007. You don't owe your possessions a second chance, but you do owe yourself ease and peace. And now, mistake number 5. One that's quietly wrapped in love and longing. Saving things for family members who don't really want them. This one is tender, I know, because it comes from a good place. You think, I'll pass this down to my son someday. My granddaughter might want this when she gets her own home. The kids might fight over this, better save it. But often we don't ask. We assume. And assumptions can quietly turn our homes into storage units for a future that's not promised. We've met many elders who filled their closets with boxes labeled with names intended for children, nieces, nephews, only to find out years later that those loved ones didn't want the silverware set, or didn't have space for the dining table, or had no emotional tie to the antique vase. And the result: hurt feelings, disappointment, confusion, Worse yet, many elders cling to these items as a form of legacy, as if passing on the family dishes means passing on a part of themselves. So when those gifts are gently declined, it feels personal. But your legacy is not in your furniture. It's in your stories, in the love you've shown, in the way you've carried your name and your kindness. If your family hasn't asked for something, it's okay to release it. And if you're unsure, ask, would you like this when I no longer need it? That one question can save you years of emotional weight and save them from the awkwardness of saying no later. Choose to give with freedom, not with pressure. And if they don't want the item, give it your blessing and let it go to someone who will use it now. Now let's step into the sixth mistake, a quiet one, but one that affects how we feel every day. Avoiding decisions because they feel overwhelming. And doing nothing for years. Sometimes it's not about emotion or nostalgia. It's about fatigue. You look at a room and think, I don't even know where to start. Or you open a drawer and close it right back because just looking at it makes your head hurt. That's not laziness. That's overwhelm. That's the body saying, this is too much for me right now. So we avoid. For a day, then a month, then a decade. And that avoidance becomes a habit. A pile here, a bag there. A storage unit filled with stuff that we don't remember, don't use, and don't want to face. But here's the good news. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't even have to do it all yourself. Start with one drawer, one shelf, one box. Pick up one item and ask yourself, do I use this? Do I love this? Does this make my life easier? If the answer is no, thank it for serving you. And set it free. You are not behind. You are not a failure. You are simply someone who has lived a full life and gathered things along the way. And now, you have the beautiful opportunity to release. Not to erase your story, but to honor it by making space for the next chapter. Because what you deserve now is clarity, lightness, freedom from the burden of decisions unmade. Every small step forward is an act of courage. And courage, at this stage of life, is not loud or flashy. It's quiet, patient, and rooted in love for yourself. Let yourself move at your own pace. You are not alone in this. Let's keep walking, slowly, gently. Because the seventh mistake is one that doesn't seem harmful on the surface, that quietly chips away at joy over time. Letting clutter block sunlight, movement, and life. It happens gradually. A chair gets pushed into the hallway just for now. A table ends up against the window, covered with old books. A stack of boxes finds its way to the porch, then stays there for months, years. And one day, you realize the sunlight doesn't pour into your living room like it used to. The path from your bed to the bathroom feels a little tighter. The dining table, once open for stories and meals, is now half covered in unopened mail. We tell ourselves, it's not hurting anyone. But it is, quietly. Because your space is not just where you live, it's how you breathe. When sunlight is blocked, our mood shifts. When movement is restricted, our bodies stiffen. When clutter takes over the corners of our home, it slowly corners our spirit too. And so, maybe today's the day to pull that table away from the window, to return the hallway to its original width, to let light back in. You deserve a home that moves with you, not around you. A space where your body feels safe, where your spirit feels open. Even one small adjustment, a cleared chair, a box moved aside, can feel like opening a window inside your soul. Now, let's talk about something even deeper. Mistake number 8. Believing your worth is tied to how much you own. This one is tender, because in a world that often measures success in stuff, it's easy to believe that a full house means a full life. But here's what we've learned over and over again. The richest people are not the ones with the most things. They're The ones who feel most peace when they wake up in the morning. And that peace? It rarely comes from stuff. Yes, you worked hard for everything you own. You've earned it. But that doesn't mean you owe it your joy. Letting go is not failure. In fact, it may be one of the most powerful expressions of confidence. To say, I have enough. Or, I don't need this anymore to feel complete. You are not the sum of your furniture, your china, or your clothes. You are the stories you carry, the love you give, the warmth in your voice when you greet someone you care about. The truth is, your home can be full of memories without being full of things. So, give yourself permission to release. Not because you have to, but because you're free to. And now, we arrive at the 9th mistake. Ignoring safety in favor of sentimentality. It sounds simple until it isn't. A rug that slides a little when you step on it. A stool that wobbles but holds too many memories to part with. A narrow walkway that feels nostalgic but risky. We tell ourselves, it's fine. I've lived with it for years. But bodies change. Balance shifts. And one fall, one slip can change everything. There's no shame in adjusting your home to fit your needs. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. You deserve a home that protects you, that welcomes you with safety, that helps you stand tall, walk steady, and sleep without fear. If something is sentimental but risky, consider taking a picture, writing a note about its story, then replacing it with something safer. That way, the memory lives on, but your body lives stronger. You've come so far in this life. Don't let a loose rug or shaky shelf undo the strength it took to get here. And now, the final mistake. Perhaps the most important of all, believing it's too late to start. Oh, how often we hear it. I'm too old to worry about this now. It's not worth the trouble anymore. This is just how things are. Let the next generation handle it. But friend, that's not true. Not even close. It is never too late to take back your space, to clear a corner and feel proud, to open a drawer and smile instead of sigh, to sit in your favorite chair and feel, truly feel, at peace. Every act of decluttering is an act of reclaiming your energy, your focus, your confidence. You don't need to finish everything in a day, or even a year. You only need to begin with one item, one shelf. One decision that says, my comfort matters, my peace matters. I still get to choose. And maybe that choice leads you to sleep better, to breathe deeper, to laugh more freely in your own living room. That is a gift, not just to yourself, but to everyone who loves you. Because when you feel free in your space, you shine, and others feel that light. So please don't tell yourself it's too late. You are still here, still breathing, still capable of change. And that in itself is a kind of miracle. So here we are, at the quiet end of a conversation that was never really about clutter, but about you, your life, your space, your peace. We've talked about memories, guilt, safety, love, and the little piles that grow slowly until they start stealing joy without us noticing. But none of this was meant to overwhelm you. It was meant to remind you that you still have the power to choose. To choose peace over pressure, to choose lightness over weight, to choose the present moment over what used to be. Decluttering, at this age, is not about letting go of your past. It's about creating room for your future. However many years, however many days that may be. You deserve to live each one with ease, with clarity, with the gentle joy of walking through your home and feeling calm. It's okay if you've been holding on to things for a long time. It's okay if this process brings up emotions. That only means you've lived deeply and loved well. But don't let those emotions convince you to stay stuck. Because true freedom sometimes looks like an empty chair where stress used to sit. Or a shelf with just 3 things you love, instead of 30 that make you sigh. You don't have to do this alone. And you don't have to do it all at once. Start with one item, one choice, one whisper of, I no longer need this. And let it be enough for today. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you're meant to be, taking the next right step toward peace. And if this video brought you comfort, or made you pause and smile, or maybe stirred something in your heart, I invite you to share it. Share it with someone you love. A friend, a neighbor, maybe a sibling who's been holding on to too much too. Because healing multiplies when it's passed on. And if you've ever felt alone in this journey, please remember, you're not. We are here. This community is here to walk beside you, gently, one story at a time. So before you go, if you haven't already, I'd love for you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the little bell so you never miss a moment of healing shared here. And if this message meant something to you, leave a comment below. Tell us what item you're ready to let go of. Or simply say, I'm starting. Sometimes those two words, I'm starting, are the most powerful ones we'll ever speak. Until next time, take care of your space, and even more importantly, take care of your soul. You are not defined by what you keep, but by the love you live with. We'll see you again soon. Stay well, stay light, and may peace fill every room you walk through.